And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with the Game Boy Geek.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. When I was a kid, there was a video game called Rampage. And you'd be climbing buildings and crushing floors and windows and eating people and destroying each other and punching each other in the face. Well, today we're going to talk about a game called Rampage from Repost Productions through Asmodee in the US. It's 2 to 4 players, 30 minutes, and it is the game kind of just like the video game where you're just causing all sorts of mayhem and destruction on everything in the town. You're throwing buses and fire trucks and tanks at people, at buildings, at your opponents, and you're just causing a mass hysteria. It's very unique. Let's check it out. And what the heck? Do you hear that? What the? I'm getting the heck out of here! At the beginning of Rampage, you get to choose one of the 4 ferocious monsters, taking one of these player shields and putting them in front of you, and grabbing the character that you see there and placing it on the board closest to you in one of the starting spots. It's fun to pick out your own monster. Each player is also given a character, a power, and a super secret power, and the characters and powers get flipped over and everybody announces what they can do. We'll talk about those later, but this one's always secret. You also get 4 teeth that are used during the game. We'll talk more about that later. Let's get on to how you play. Over the course of the game, you're going to be trying to destroy buildings, tip them over, spread the people all over these 8 different neighborhoods that you see in different colors, and then you're going to try to go to those neighborhoods and eat the people because you're going to get points for all the people and all the floors of the buildings that you eat at the end. And you can see looking down the board that each of these buildings are 3 floors high with many different randomized people set up during the setup that we're going to be demolishing. Each turn you get 2 actions and then some things happen and then it will be somebody else's turn. One of the moves you can do is moving. So you can take your guy off his feet and essentially to move, you flick the disc. That's 1 action. Now, if I am touching, bordering any one of these sidewalks that's around any of these buildings, a different action also gets unlocked to me called Destruction. What Destruction allows me to do is take my monster and while sitting in a chair, hold my arm parallel to the floor so it doesn't go too high, and I get to drop it right on a building. As you can see, this caused quite some carnage. Now, those are my 2 actions. After any action, if there's a floor of a building that does not have anybody on it, and it's not being supported by anybody, you essentially eat this by putting it in your stomach, which essentially means just putting it behind your player shield so nobody can see how many things you've eaten. Now, we see that my monster here is touching, he's inside this yellow neighborhood. At the end of your 2 actions, if there are any meeples in your yellow neighborhood, or at least touching your yellow neighborhood, you can eat them. By default, all monsters start with a total of 6 teeth, 2 top that can never be removed, and 4 bottoms that can be removed during the game. For every tooth, that's how many meeple you could eat. But it's the beginning of the game, I have all 6 teeth, there's only 1 meeple I could eat. I would take him because I'm in this neighborhood at the end of my 2 actions, and put him in my belly. Yum, yum, yum. In addition to moving or destructing, you can also try breathing to do some destruction. Essentially how this works is you have your monster, you place your chin right on the monster, then inhale, then exhale. The last of the 4 actions you can take is throwing a bus. Now, I'm in a green neighborhood and there happens to be another bus in this neighborhood. If I'm in the same neighborhood as any other bus, regardless of color, I can pick that bus up and I can aim my guy and flick it at something, like a building, but I can also aim it at other monsters, like this. Now if you knock a monster over, it's a good thing because you get to steal one of their teeth and put it in your own belly, which is worth 2 points at the end of the game. So you're not only trying to wreak havoc on buildings to eat meeples, you're also trying to pound out your other people. And again, I did my 2 actions at the end of my turn. I'm in the green neighborhood. I can eat, since I have all my teeth still, up to 6 people. 1, 2, 3, 4. I would eat these and put them in my belly. Now if you notice, one of the meeples flew off the board from that carnage. When that happens, you place it on this little board here on the side like this. Now, if you're the player that ends up filling up any one of these lines, they go in order left to right, top to bottom. Once this line is filled, bad things happen. For example, on almost all of them, you lose a tooth. This one, you'd lose 2 teeth. And people get to move you around, or other people get extra actions. In other words, it's really bad to be the one to finish a row of having someone moving off the board. Also, if you get all the way to the end, the game ends at the end of that turn. Otherwise, the game ends once the last floor of any building has gone off the board or been eaten. Everybody else gets one more turn, and then we go to final scoring. At the end of the game, we're going to go through scoring as follows. You're going to get 10 points for every set of 6 different colored meeples you eat. Oh, and by the way, the black ones are businessmen, the gray ones are old folk, the red ones are heroes, the blue ones are journalists, the green ones are soldiers, and the yellow ones are blondes, by the way, for thematic reasons. Every floor of the building you eat, you get 1 point. Every tooth in your belly from another monster is 2 points, and you can get some points from some of these character cards. Now's a good time to talk about some of those powers. So again, at the beginning of the game, we got these cards. Everyone would flip their character and power over, and they would say who they are and what their power is. In my case, I'd be mean. And if I have the most red, which are the heroes, eaten in my belly at the end of the game, I'm going to get extra 10 points. My power is Stretchy Paws, and anytime before a move action, I can move my disc to any part of the same neighborhood before I flick it. And once per game, I can use this secret superpower, which nobody gets to see until I use it. And I am a hobo, which allows me to randomly pull 3 meeples from the stomach of any other monster and put them in my own. There's actually 16 of powers, characters, and special super secret powers that allow you to do things. So there's tons of these things. I just showed you one of each, but there are a lot of them. There's also a second side. This is side A to this board where the meeples go once they have left the city and nobody has eaten them, they escaped. And there's also one that shows you that there's 3 per each color can get put there for an even harder game. So you've got carnage and destruction, eating meeples, destroying buildings, eating buildings, pushing over your monsters, throwing buses, and having lots of fun. Alright, well there's Rampage. Wow, what a fun game. I don't think I've ever seen a game cause so much buzz by people watching you play it. I mean, you play this game in a coffee shop or in a public place, and people are going to be flocking to see what all the laughing's about, what's all the noising about, what's all the commotion about. It is a very fun, chaotic, family light game. But even though it's light, when you add the character and the power and then that super secret power, you know, and you get into your characters to who you are at the beginning of the game, and you get to do those cool things, and there's like 16 of each of them. So the games are going to be different each time too. It kind of like has you go down a different path of strategy. So even though it just looks like a light game, like you're just demolishing buildings and eating meeples, there's actually a decent amount of like, you know, things to think about when you're trying to win the game. Whether you're going to, you know, go to somebody else's neighborhood, or whether you're going to, you know, punch somebody else and try to get their teeth down. You know, and depending on how some of those powers, some of them combo good with each other, some of them actually help against somebody else. So overall, I loved the game. It's a lot of fun. You'll probably see more people laughing and having a good time playing this game than many other board games you'll see them playing. So I think they have a hit on their hands re-post production here. I might go on a limb here and say it's probably going to win or be nominated for either Family Game of the Year, and or Most Innovative Game of the Year for this. It's going to fly off the shelves over the holiday seasons. I just think this is going to be a good staple in pretty much many gamers and non-gamers, you know, in shelf and in library. So if you want to have a lot of fun, not think too hard, but have a little bit of, you know, strategery there, then you gotta have to check out Rampage. Hey, one more thing before you go. If you're about to drop a comment on this YouTube page for this video and you're expecting interaction or a personal response from me, I recommend the place to do that is at my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/thegameboygeek, because I don't get notified when YouTube videos get comments on the Dice Tower Network because I don't own the channel. So if you want to interact with me directly, I'll see you at my Facebook page.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.